7 weeks down and only one to go. Tonight, week 8 of the inaugural SFLm season brings us to New Mexico, where the visiting Lincoln Rattlesnakes are looking for revenge for a week 1 loss, while the hometown Adams must win to have a shot at sneaking into the playoffs next week. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Albuquerque, alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine, our statisticians David and Katie Horrell, and my partner Mike Improda. I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the Simulation Football Minor League live on YouTube. Thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from. It's been a scintillating SFLm season so far, Mikey. There's loads at stake for both these teams tonight.
Yeah, buddy. We've got the Albuquerque Adams and the Lincoln Rattlesnakes in the final matchup for these two teams of the SFL Minor League regular season. Last week, even though Lincoln crushed Birmingham 20-6, they were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. If the Rattlesnakes want to finish the season on a high note and be the spoiler, they'll look to poison the dreams of the Adams. But Lincoln needs to protect QB Brian Dynasty. In his 3 starts, the Aloha Kid's been sacked 18 times. And on the other side for Albuquerque, everything's at stake. If this squad plans to end their devastating 3-game slide and somehow sneak into the postseason, they need to play physical and find a way to run the ball. The Adams must win to stay alive. Tim Hackett, I missed your partner. Welcome back. I'm ready to go. Let the show begin.
Missed you too, Mikey Dynamite. It is going to be a dynamite week 8. We've already seen 2 really intriguing games. This is game 3 of the weekly Wednesday quadruple header, and the stakes are clear. Albuquerque must win to have a shot. They will get the ball first, and we're underway from New Mexico. Here comes Jason Bartley in his second game wearing the Albuquerque neon. He gets out to the 29, and the Adams will start there. So as Mike alluded to, both of these teams working with their number 2 quarterbacks this week, so we'll see P.J. Slaughter coming out to make his 4th start of the season for head coach Jason Williams.
Albuquerque Adams, they need to win to stay alive. So if they can put up the victory and somehow root against Annapolis to get beat by Madison, they get in.
Those are the 2 key things for Albuquerque. They must win to have a chance, and then Annapolis must lose coming up at 8. Slaughter's first pass, launching it down the seam, and it's picked off by Ben Stackenpaper. He was looking for Michael Potter in the top corner for Lincoln, rises up and takes it away. Great start for Lincoln.
First play of the game, and Ben Stackenpaper picks up his 3rd interception on the year. And the Lincoln Rattlesnakes, they won last week. They want to put up 2 in a row and end the dreams of the Adams.
Well, this is kind of par for the course over the last couple of weeks for Albuquerque, isn't it? They've faced 3 straight losses. They've turned the ball over a ton. Their offense has not gotten to work at all. They've only scored 2 total touchdowns over those last 3 games. And for the 2nd straight game today, a game starts with a turnover. Lincoln will now take over from just on their side of midfield from their 49, a 3rd pick of the season for Ben Stackenpaper. He's the 4th guy with at least 3 takeaways. Brian Dynasty's first pass of the game is hauled in over the center of the field. That looks like Nathan Barnett, and it is gain of 13.
Good-looking pass by Dynasty. The offensive line behind newcomer Freddie the Blob Dukes gave him the protection, and he fired it in there.
Hey, Tony Hall, not 87, Nathan Barnett. We'll sort it out, but first catch of the game for Tony Hall, who's been a really reliable target for both Lincoln quarterbacks. So our look at Bryant Dynasty. They'll toss it on the left side. That's a new-looking play, and Luther Gahn has nowhere to go. Met in the backfield for a loss of 2 by Tina Begin, one of the best defensive tackles in the league.
Tina Begin, she's been excellent this year. She leads the team. She's just behind the team leader, Igor Barbatov. She's got 9 tackles for losses on the season, and Luther Gahn, on his first carry, struggles to run the ball.
Been a real tough season for Luther Gahn. We'll get into that as we go along, and Lincoln decides to pass on the first play, no surprise, and they will pass here. They do this more than anybody else. On 2nd and 12, Dynasty has a man on the far side. It looks like Jay Moss, and Moss hauls it in for a gain of 10. That's a way to get back on schedule.
Jay Moss, he's the best receiver right now for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. He's got 43 receptions on the season, which is good for 3rd in the league.
Top 10 in both catches and receiving yards for Moss. Same can be said for Nathan Barnett. And Tony Hall is top 15 in both catches and receiving yards. Again, strong toss to Gahn, and he's blown up for a loss of 6 by Wolf Justice, the defensive end. That play fails twice in a row. Great work by the Adams defensive front.
Justice is served, and Luther Gahn on his second carry gets nailed for a 6-yard loss. Tim, it's been a struggle, as you mentioned, all year for Gahn. Any time that he touches the ball, it's really difficult to get things going. He only has 2.5 yards per carry. That's worse than the league for running backs who have 50 carries or more this year.
All running backs, he's down among the fullbacks in terms of yards per carry average. And here's a punt from Pete Edwards, and it rolls just over the goal line and into the end zone for a touchback. You and I have seen Pete Edwards and the Lincoln special teams work out a couple of times. Not that time. By that I mean, of course, good special teams coverage. Doesn't work that time for Lincoln, and so Albuquerque will take over at the 20.
Sneaky Pete Edwards, he's been an effective punter for the Rattlesnakes, and the Adams catch a break. They start from the 20, as you mentioned.
PJ Slaughter does not come back to haunt Albuquerque at all. Just his second interception of the season. Here's the first carry for Connor Weston. Tries to pull off the spin move and gets nowhere. Tackled for a loss by Brett Wade, his 4th tackle for loss of the season.
Brett Wade, he's out of Spokane, Washington. He also plays pro poker on the side. And right there, he came up aces.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a flush, or did they flush Connor Weston out on that one? I think that works, right? Loss of 1. Weston has been one of the more successful backs over the course of the season, very often used as well. On second down, Slaughter has a man over the middle. That pass is caught for a gain of 9. That looks like 83. TJ Punk, the tight end. My apologies, gain of 9.
Good-looking play to move the ball. They're only 2 yards shy here on 3rd down, and that's Slaughter's guy in critical situations, the tight end, TJ Punk.
This year, but as you pointed out in the past, he's very busy when PJ Slaughter's the quarterback. He'll give to Weston. Weston lowers the shoulder and gets the line to gain. Needed 2, got 2, drags Brett Wade for the extra yard.
Good effort by Connor Weston. He's the guy that the Adams need to get going. He gets the 2 and picks up the first down.
Good season so far for Connor Weston. 149 carries and 590 yards. Both of those second among all running backs. Of course, he started every single game. Only Fox Highwind is used more. Fresh set of downs here for the Adams. Drop back here for Slaughter. Takes his time. Looks near side. The pass is tipped and incomplete. Ryan Zantz had the coverage of Mackenzie Traeger, a pair of backups on the play, incomplete.
Offensive line gave Slaughter plenty of time to look for his receivers. Couldn't find anyone open. He was lucky that didn't get picked off and taken back for 6.
Defense, I mean, they're good in some facets, Mike, and just not good in others. Their pass defense is solid. Their pass rush is tremendous, maybe the best in the league, but their run defense is just poor. They've been gashed a couple of times, especially over the last half dozen games or so, but their pass defense is pretty solid. Their backups have a couple of takeaways. They have 9 takeaways overall as a team, good for 4th in the league. Make it 10 now, of course, after that stack and paper interception on their first defensive drive. Second down and 10 here for Slaughter. Rifles it over the middle. It's tipped away again, and it falls incomplete. That's Tommy Zanardi, the middle linebacker. He's been red hot over the last couple of weeks. Give him another pass deflection there.
Excellent job by the Lincoln Rattlesnakes defense. They were in zone coverage. Zanardi sat right in the middle of the field and was able to knock that one down. The pass fell incomplete. And to your point, Tim, the Rattlesnakes haven't been bad. They've been 4th against the pass. They give up about 200 yards a game, but their focus is on Connor Weston. The defense, they're last in the league. They give up about 125 yards, and they can't let that happen today.
Down here, third and 10, and the Adams are going to have to throw, and they do so, and they get the first down. Needed 10, got about 11. That's Eagle Mundavi, their top wide receiver, moved the chains.
Eagle Mundavi, he's got 37 receptions, make it 38 on 49 targets, and he picks up the first down. They're up to the Albuquerque 42.
And from Burlington, Vermont, top 10 in the league in both catches and receiving yards. Big catch to move the sticks there. So now from the 42, Lincoln sends a couple of extra guys to the line. Turkey late handoff for Weston, tries to cut back inside, and he gets 1. Brett Wade has been really busy in this game, as you see, his 3rd tackle already. He only supposedly had 21 total tackles coming into today, an average of obviously 3 per game over his first 7. He's got 3 already here in the first quarter.
Brett Wade, he's focusing on Connor Weston. Every time they get the ball on first down, that's where they're headed, and he nailed Weston for only a 1-yard gain.
Lincoln really needs more help from this linebacker core in the run game. Their defensive front is ferocious, as we've said, especially in the pass game, but they need more help from the linebackers in run defense. 2nd down and 9. Deep pass coming from Slaughter, and it's knocked away, incomplete again. He was going for Mondavi. Great coverage down the field by number 29, Eric Guger, the free safety.
Not a bad effort by Slaughter to try and hit his favorite receiver, Mondavi, but he couldn't quite get there, and the pass got knocked away.
PJ Slaughter has been really good so far this season. His auxiliary numbers are excellent through only 3 starts, so it's a small sample size we grant, and this is possibly his last chance to show what he can do on the field. 3rd down and 9. They'll flip it out to Weston out of the backfield, spins away and can't get through the onrush. Gets maybe 2 yards through the air, tackled by KT Horrell and Ben Stackenpaper, 4th down.
Fantastic job by the Rattlesnakes defense. They knew it was 3rd and long. They dropped back in a dime package. The only option that Slaughter had was to dump it off to Weston, and they covered him up. Adams will have to punt.
Connor Weston is used a lot in the pass game, more than just about any other tailback in the league, to good effect as well, but not that time. Great coverage by the Lincoln second level, and so Ralph Bennington will come on to punt for the first time. Return man is Tony Hall, and he can't get out of the first rush. Gets out to the 21 and no further. It's been a decent season return-wise for Tony Hall, middle of the pack in both punt return and kick return average. So the Lincoln offense comes onto the field for the second time. Bryant Dynasty, as we've mentioned, is the quarterback. We'll introduce you to the rest of the offense. The wide receivers, Jay Moss, Nathan Barnett, and Tony Hall. Tight end is Connor Darien. Tailback, Luther Gond. Fullback, R.E. Mills. And the offensive line is spearheaded by left guard Fred Dukes. Second possession for the Rattlesnakes. The tie game in the first quarter. They give us to Gond, and Luther Gond is hauled down from his ankles, but he's still able to pick up 3.
Nice job by Luther Gond to find some positive yardage. That play took a little while for the guards to pull. Didn't think he was going to get much, and he ended up picking up 3.
Here's a look at Chris Stock, the top corner for Albuquerque, who made the tackle. Gond 3rd in the league in carries, 7th in total yards, and 3 total touchdowns, which is tied for 4th. But he is used a lot, and his efficiency is not very high. 2nd and 7, they'll go again to Gond, and he picks up maybe 1 or so. Tackle from behind by Carson Miller, the middle linebacker.
Great pursuit by the inside linebacker, 54, Carson Miller. He read that all the way, and Gond gets taken down for a 1-yard loss.
Carson Miller has been fantastic this year. Top 5 in the league in tackles and in solo tackles. And 3rd with 19 assisted tackles as well. Again, they will go to Gond on 3rd down, and he's blown up. Roland Parrott, the outside linebacker, takes down Gond for a loss of 2, 4th down.
Roland Parrott, this linebacking crew from the Adams, they're all over Luther Gond, and they lose another 2 yards.
Spell it out here, Mike, because this Lincoln offense has been excellent passing the ball, and that's why they pass the ball as much as they do, more than any other team. Their running attack has not been very good, and the Albuquerque run defense is fantastic. Best in the league, fewest rushing yards allowed at about 71 per game, and they've stopped up Luther Gond here so far in the first quarter. Good return for Jason Bartley in just his 2nd game with the team, replacing Carter Height last week.
That's really a great point, Tim, and I think that's the key to today's game. The Lincoln Rattlesnakes offense, they're last in the league in rushing. They only get about 61 yards on the ground, but for the Adams defense, they're number 1 against the rush, only giving up 71 yards a game. Something's got to give.
These are 2 of the weakest offensive teams in the league in terms of points per game. On 1st down, the give to Weston. Spin move for Connor Weston, and he picks up 8. Biggest play of the game so far on the ground for Connor Weston, one of the league's star backs. But 2 of the weakest teams in terms of points per game, Mike, but 2 decent defenses. But Albuquerque's defense is top-notch, so if the Albuquerque offense could somehow exploit this Lincoln defense some way or another, they might have the upper hand.
And I think that exploitation comes with running the ball with Weston. You saw it right there, and he picked up a nice 8 yards.
That is the weakness of this Lincoln team, as we've said, last in the league against the run. They give up 125 rushing yards per game on average, despite an excellent game against the run last week against Birmingham. Here's a better play. Surging forward to stop Weston for a loss of 2 is Tommy Zanardi with some help from Mike All, the new defensive end.
Mike All out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If all you need is a great team player, then All is who you need.
I love that tagline. That's fantastic. So Mike All joined the team in week 4, replacing John Fowler, and he's been really solid to start for this team now in his 5th game. Give him 5 total tackles for loss. He's made a really big impact. 3rd down, over the middle. Pass is caught. 1st down for TJ Punk. He was left wide open in the middle of the Lincoln zone. PJ Slaughter links it up perfectly.
Yeah, nice look by Slaughter to TJ Punk. The defense was selling out on the run. They're looking to stop Connor Weston, and they pick up the 1st down over the middle from the QB to the tight end.
Punk is 4th among tight ends in catches, 2nd among tight ends in receiving yards, 3rd among tight ends in yards per reception at better than 12.5. But almost all of his action has come when PJ Slaughter has been the quarterback. He's been busy to start here today. On 1st down from the 34, they give to Weston, stretched to the left, and he's blown up again for a loss by Mike All.
Mike All giving his all. I didn't like that play from the beginning, Tim. You could see they had 8 in the box, and they gave Weston nothing.
Lincoln trying to counteract what we've said, and everyone knows they've struggled against the run, especially over weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7. And so Lincoln has been trying to do the work to counteract, and it's worked off more times than not here for Jose Fuentes. On 2nd down, they'll swing it out to the fullback, Iggy Swift. Good rallying tackle by a pair of Lincoln defenders, but Swift, the fullback, still picks up 5.
The Lincoln Rattlesnakes, they've come to play on the road today. They haven't given Slaughter much. He had to dump it out to Iggy Swift, and that brings up 3rd and long.
Iggy Swift is the most used fullback in the SFLm, and the fullback on the other side, R.E. Mills, is the 2nd most used in terms of total touches. That's the 15th catch for Iggy Swift, by far the most in the league. Another 3rd down and 7. The pass over the middle is hauled in for the 1st down. That's Michael Potter. His 1st catch right to the sticks, move the chains.
Great catch by Michael Potter. He hauled that one in right in the middle of traffic, and that'll keep this drive moving forward.
This just shows you something that PJ Slaughter has flashed all season. His completion percentage is great. His yards per attempt is really good. His quarterback rating is fantastic. His auxiliary stats are really good, but he just hasn't had a lot of time to shine. On 1st down, they will give to, looked like the fullback. It was Iggy Swift, and he gashes it up the middle for a gain of 7.
The great thing about P.J. Slaughter, Tim, that stands out to me is when Mike St. Green plays quarterback for the Adams, he's been sacked 14 times. P.J. Slaughter, he got sacked 3 times last week, and that's the only time he's been sacked all season long. He's got the quick release.
Slaughter's kind of off an up-and-down game last time out against Ottawa. We know how good their defense usually is. Last game earlier today against Birmingham notwithstanding. So that was Slaughter's worst game in a lot of ways. 2nd down and 3. The swing out to Weston. Tries to get the extra yardage. He can't, but he still picks up 5 through the air. Another good tackle by Tommy Zanardi. Connor Weston getting involved early through the air.
I really like the way the Adams are looking on this drive. Nice balance. They've run the ball a little bit. They've passed the ball a little bit. And right there, they pick up a 1st down. They're inside the 15.
28 catches now for Connor Weston. That's by far 1st among running backs, and it's actually good for the top 10 overall, including all wide receivers. They will give it to Weston on the ground this time, and he picks up 4.
Great job by the offensive line. Bam Centers and Hawk Huntington. They created the hole, and the Adams are looking strong.
And that's the end of the 1st quarter already. No score between Albuquerque and Lincoln. A pivotal game for the home team. They must win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. This is the SFL Minor League, live on YouTube. For joining us here this evening, happy to have you along wherever you're with us from. Tim Hackett, Mike and Proda, David and KT Horrell working the stats, Cameron Irvine working behind the scenes. Thanks for joining us. Week 8 of 8 of the SFLm. The playoffs start next week, starting up on Monday. 2nd down and 7. Slaughter will run. We know he can do this, and he stopped just short of the line to gain. I've been waiting to see this all season from PJ Slaughter, Mike. Just his 2nd carry, the 1st designed quarterback run. He picks up 5.
Fabulous decision by P.J. Slaughter. He's got the speed. He smelt the goal line. The defense came up to make a big play, but right now they're inches away from getting a 1st down and putting it into the end zone.
1st down here. They'll give it to Weston, and they don't need a touchdown, Albuquerque. The Adams strike first in this pivotal game. 2-yard touchdown run for Connor Weston, his 3rd of the season.
Nice looking drive by Albuquerque. That's exactly what they needed to get on the board first. Their confidence is riding high, and that's really what this team has struggled to do do all season long, Tim. They've been great in between the 20s. They've struggled to get it into the end zone, but right there, Connor Weston takes it in with ease.
Yeah, it's just to your point, Mike. That's now 8 total touchdowns by this Albuquerque offense. That's fewest in the league. Birmingham is next closest with 10 prior to today. They added a couple to that tally earlier today against Ottawa. So now just 8 total offensive touchdowns by the Adams all season. Taco Sicario on for the PAT, and he knocks it through. Connor Weston scored 2 rushing touchdowns in Week 4 against San Jose, a game that you and I were there for. Didn't have any touchdowns over the first 3 weeks. Didn't have any touchdowns over the next 3 weeks, and now he's on the board again.
Only had 2 touchdowns coming into this game. He put up his 3rd. He's going to need to score a lot more to keep these Adams playoff hope dreams alive.
Sicario will kick off. Lincoln hoping for some revenge after they lost to Albuquerque in Week 1, despite picking off Mike St. Green, the other starting quarterback, 5 times. Lincoln did not score a single touchdown and lost that game by 4. Great return by Tony Hall out across the 30. That doesn't happen too often, and so Lincoln with some good field position trying to respond.
Respond is the word. Lincoln, they're trying to play for pride. They want to end the dreams of the Adams. We need Bryant Dynasty to show his skills and show the pro owners that he deserves to be the number 1 pick in this coming draft on Monday, the 21st.
He's been mocked that way a lot this offseason, Mike, you're right. He's turned a lot of scouts' heads because of his play and because of his intangibles. On first down, he will flex it back out to the tailback, Luther Gond, and Gond picks up 2. Gond is also used quite a bit through the air. We talk about Weston. Gond is actually right behind Weston, 25 receptions prior to today. That's second among running backs in top 15 in the league overall.
Check that, Tim. Sunday, the 21st. 20 seconds on Monday, but either way, that's the rookie draft, and Bryant Dynasty, he'll be on everybody's board.
I don't know what day is what anymore, but this coming Monday is the start of the playoffs. That I know for sure. Dynasty will roll out, and he's blown up for a loss of 2. Had time, and then that time ran out. Hit for a sack by Cole Finnegan, the outside backer, his 2nd sack of the year.
Cole Finnegan, what a hit. Dynasty had all day long, wasn't able to pull the trigger, and Finnegan made him pay.
Wake, I think you could say. And Mike Baker told you a couple of weeks ago he thinks their defensive front is the best in the league, and they've shown you why, especially over the last couple of weeks. They have a stake to that claim for sure. 3rd and 10. Under pressure again is Dynasty, and he goes down again. A loss of 4, and there's Tina Begin wreaking havoc in the backfield again, her 5th sack of the season.
Tina Begin out of my home state. Rhode Island comes up with a big play. Bryant Dynasty, he couldn't escape from that big tackle, and he gets taken down for another sack.
Second biggest star from Rhode Island on this broadcast this evening, no doubt about it. Tina Begin has been fantastic. This 1-2 on the inside for Albuquerque might be the best defensive tackle tandem in the league. Begin and Mufasa Kamau, who we haven't gotten to see too much out of so far today. Igor Barbatov, of course, on the other side for Lincoln is one of the best solo, but that is just a fantastic tandem. Good coverage on the return for Jason Barton.
Really scary defensive tackles, as you mentioned, for the Adams. Mufasa Kamau, he comes into the game with 5.5 sacks, and Tina Begin picks up her 5th.
It's been really rough sailing here for Albuquerque, Mike, and it's just stunning to me that here we are in week 8 of 8. Albuquerque needs a win to have any chance of making the playoffs. If you told that to me after week 4, halfway through the season, I would have thought you were crazy. This team looked like a playoff lock. On first down, Weston will track outside, had a gap, and then couldn't surge through it. More good defense here by Lincoln, rallying to the charge. That's the other corner, Nate Brown, no gain.
The tale of 2 halves for these Adams. The season started off, as you mentioned, Tim, they looked great. They started off 4-1. But games 5, 6, and 7 have been heartbreakers. They've lost 3 in a row.
Last week they lost 13-6 against Boise in what was really a snooze fest. I mean, neither offense was very good. You're looking at 2 of the best running backs in the league, but neither offense was able to do very much. Slaughter here. We'll check it down to Weston. Weston again tries to dish out the spin move, and again he's got nowhere to go. That's Brett Wade again. He's been a monster. Gain of 1.
Brett Wade all over the field. He got shot out of a cannon and nailed Weston.
9 carries for 11 total yards unofficially for Connor Weston, and now 3 catches for 9 total yards. So 12 touches, 20 yards total for Connor Weston through a quarter and a half. 3rd down and 9 from the 38. Slaughter will take his time. Drops back. Sees pressure. Now he'll launch it down the right seam, and it's knocked away incomplete. Once again, looking for Mackenzie Traeger, who plays a fair amount. Chris Porter applied the pressure. Incomplete pass, 4th down.
Lincoln knew that it was a passing situation on 3rd and 9. They had double coverage, and they defended that well.
Lincoln has allowed the second most points per game this season and the second most touchdowns and the second most total yards. I mean, all that is to say, it's just, you look at Lincoln and you see why they're an average team in terms of total record. They're decent against the pass, not good against the run. You average that out and it's a decent team. On offense, they're great passing, not great running the ball. Average that out and you got a decent team. It's no surprise that they're going to finish right around the middle of the standings. Not a great return there for Tony Hall. And it's tough for Lincoln coming into today because no matter what they do, even if they win today against Albuquerque and get some revenge, they can't make the playoffs. They knew that despite the two results coming that have already come in earlier today. Lincoln could have finished anywhere between 5th and 7th in the league standings. Albuquerque could have finished anywhere between 4th and 7th in the league standings, depending on today's result, or this game's result, I should say, and all of the other results across this Wednesday quadruple header. Here's Bryant Dynasty back to work, has a man out on the far sideline. Passes hauled in, first down and more. Nathan Barnett, nice pickup on first down.
Excellent job by Bryant Dynasty to take his time and stand in the pocket to let that play develop. Hall cut it outside for about 11 yards, and Dynasty put it right on the money.
You're right, it's Hall, not Barnett. I've done that twice now. These Lincoln jerseys can be tough to read, and so can the Albuquerque jerseys. I'm not going to try to guess what the color is because we know I've gotten that wrong. They're neon. I'll say that. The Lincoln jerseys can be tough to read. That's Hall, 88, not Barnett, 87. But all three of these wide receivers, no matter who the quarterback is for Lincoln, they've all been involved in the game so much every week. They all have just a tremendous number of catches. No other team can say what Lincoln can say on offense. More on that as we go along. On first down, they give to R.E. Mills, the fullback. We mentioned he gets involved a lot, and he picks up 3. Lincoln, Mike, is the only team in the SFLm with 4 pass catchers in the top 20 in total receptions. All 3 of their wide receivers in Luther gone. And they're one of 2 teams with all 3 of their wide receivers in the top 15 in receiving yards. Birmingham is the other. So they spread the wealth, and they pass a lot, and they pass with good effectiveness. That's just really the game plan for this Lincoln team. Second and 7, Mills picks up 1 on the fullback dive.
I think that trend has to come into play, Tim, when you play from behind quite a bit. As we keep mentioning, unfortunately, the Rattlesnakes have struggled to run the ball. They're last in the league. But when you have to pass so much and play from behind, the numbers start to become inflated, and that's a little misleading.
There's no question that when you play from behind, you have to pass. You're absolutely right. But Lincoln's game plan, even when they're ahead or close in games, they still pass a lot. 3rd and 6, they're going to have to pass here. And Dynasty goes down again, brought down for another sack. He's been under fire all day today. And that's the defensive back to Bucky Bear, the backup safety with the sack.
I'm not sure what it is. If Bryant Dynasty has a linebacker magnet underneath his pads, but in the last 3 games coming into this one, he was sacked 18 times. He's already been sacked by the Adams 3 times. I don't know what's going on with this offensive line, but Bryant Dynasty's fighting for his life.
It's been a real struggle area for Lincoln all season long, the sack department, no question. Here comes Bartley on the return, 1 nice spin move and no further. And you're right. I mean, Lincoln has allowed 27 sacks prior to today, and that's now 3 by Albuquerque, so bring that up to 30. That's by far the most in the league. The next closest team is Madison, which has allowed 22 sacks. They're coming up later tonight at 8-7 Central. And poor Bryant Dynasty, this is now just his 4th game, and as you said, he's been sacked 21 times. That would have been 3rd most in the league, and he's only played 3+ games.
Against Madison, he was sacked 3 times. Against Boise, he was sacked 7 times. And at San Jose, he was taken down 8 times. And today, against Albuquerque, he's already been thrown to the turf 3 times.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. And speaking of thrown to the turf, Tommy Zanardi rallies in and stops Weston for no gain. Zanardi has come on really strong. He had a handful of pass breakups last week in Lincoln's win, and now he's back and running the show again. Katie Horrell, we haven't seen too much out of her. The right side outside linebacker, she's one of the best in the league at doing just a little bit of everything. Slaughter will check it down to Weston. Weston has a man on him immediately, but he's able to break through the first hit and pick up 1. That should have been a loss of 3.
Good determination by Connor Weston just to pick up 1 yard. I thought he was going to get nailed for at least a loss of 3 or 4.
Game plan has just changed for Albuquerque over the last couple of weeks. They've struggled to run the ball over the last couple of games. Weston has 101 total rushing yards over the last 2 games, but he's been involved more and more in the pass game. as Albuquerque tries to get back into a game. Down the right seam, the pass is hauled in by Michael Potter. Another magical catch by the Wizard out to the 48.
Michael Potter comes up with a fantastic grab. How did he hang on to that one? Slaughter led him a little bit too far, and he laid out to bring that one in. Good grab by Potter.
You're right, they led him too far. If that was a better throw, Potter might still be running. Led him too far, and Eric Guger laid the boom on him, but still a nice pickup for Potter. Give him 20 on the play, longest pass play of the game so far. Slaughter has all day again, launches it down the left seam, has a man wide open. It's one of the backups, Rand Cullen, to the goal line, touchdown Albuquerque. For better than 50 yards, 58-yard strike from Slaughter to the backup, Rand Cullen.
What a play by Slaughter to find Cullen. We got to check the stat book, Tim. That might be Cullen's first catch. I know it's his first touchdown of the season, and that one goes for 52 yards.
That's the first touchdown by a backup of any kind for Albuquerque this year. You're right, out of nowhere, Rand Cullen and Kyle Ferdinand, the other backup, they don't play very much at all. The two backup wideouts don't play very much at all. What a moment for Rand Cullen, and a fantastic throw by P.J. Slaughter. The man was wide open.
This hometown crowd, this is what they've come to see. They're cheering their Adams into the playoffs, and that 52-yard pass puts them up by 14, pending their point.
Like usual, it's 52, not 58. Trying to do it quickly, but close enough, I guess. And David and Katie Horrell are right on top of it, as they usually are. PAT from Taco Sicario is up and good. He's still perfect on those. Only missed one field goal all season. And this Albuquerque pass offense, Mike, I mean, it's been hit or miss so far this year. Second last in the league in pass yards, but they blitzed Lincoln on that drive.
Great looking play by the Adams. The element of surprise takes over Lincoln once again. They forgot about the backup tight end, Rand Cullen, and he made them pay.
Albuquerque on the right foot here at home. They must win to have a shot. It bears repeating. The stakes are obvious, and it bears repeating for Adams fans. But if they win, it's not all said and done. Decent return for Hall out to the 28. Annapolis and Madison round 2 is coming up. The last game of our quadruple header at 8-7 Central. If Annapolis wins, they're in. Doesn't matter what happens here. If Annapolis loses and Albuquerque wins, the Adams are in. It's that simple. There's a lot of other permutations that can happen, and a lot of things have changed based on the early 2 results today, but in terms of the final playoff team, that is all that matters. 1st and 10, here goes Luther Gond off left tackle. Barrels ahead for a gain of 2. It looked like he might break out of it, but he can't. Stopped after a short gain by Tina Begin again.
Still early in the game, the Rattlesnakes are going to try and get Gond involved, but the Adams, once again, play that 4-3 defense, and it's making it tough for Gond to get any positive yardage.
16 total permutations in terms of how all of the 8 teams in this league would finish up after today, before the games today, which is pretty remarkable considering that the fates of 6 of the 8 teams were sealed. 2nd down and 8, quick out route caught by Jay Moss for a gain of 3. It's kind of the patented Lincoln play. They've stolen it from the San Jose playbook. But after the 2 results earlier today, Boise wins and Birmingham wins, there are only 4 total permutations left. But again, when all is said and done, 3 playoff teams have been decided in some order: Madison, Ottawa, and Boise. The 4th team, I should say, is still up for grabs. It'll either be Albuquerque or Annapolis based on what happens in the final 2 games today. 3rd and 5, big spot here for Dynasty. Floats it down the middle, and the pass is caught. 1st down and a whole lot more. That looks like Connor Darien. It is. The tight end makes his first catch out across midfield inside the enemy 40.
Connor Darien, a.k.a. Mark Herwertz. He's the HR representative in the SFL, and he gets a nice-looking pass from Dynasty to move the chains. They're in Albuquerque territory. They're on the 39.
In terms of longest catch of the season for Connor Darien, 28-yard link up from Dynasty to Darien. The previous long was 22. So a fresh set of downs. Best looking drive in a while here for Lincoln Dynasty. Sidearm throw out to the near sideline. That's caught for a gain of 7 by Jay Moss.
Jay Moss, nice catch on the sideline. He does a little toe tapping, foot dragging, and an excellent concentration. And it looks like there might be a challenge, but I was about to say, Tim, from Jay Moss, a little tapestry, if you will.
So here comes our 6'2", our first look at him. I mean, what's the challenge here, Mike? Do they think that Jay Moss didn't get his foot down?
That's exactly the challenge. Not sure if he was able to catch the ball in bounds. And maybe something from Jason Williams saw that that pass might have gone incomplete. Let's
I
see
mean,
what R62 has to say.
I don't know what you think, Mike. That looked pretty clear to me. It looked like he stamped down the right foot with time to spare.
And you will be right.
Yeah. Rolling on the field stands, and I think that's the first call we've gotten right so far this season, Mike. You and I have worked together now 7 times, and we've seen R62 make an appearance every time, and I think that's the first time we've gotten something right. Should be a gain of 7, and the call stands.
Nice start. We got to start from somewhere. And I'll take that. I'll take that. We're on a roll.
It's fine. And the third catch now officially for Jay Moss, who's been really reliable for Lincoln over the last couple of weeks. Here goes Gond, and Gond is stopped up once again. A loss of 1, hit from behind by Roland Parrott.
Roland Parrott and this Adams D-line, they're focusing on Gond. They're not going to let the Lincoln Rattlesnakes run. It's going to have to be on the arm of Bryant Dynasty if Lincoln comes into this atmosphere and pulls off the upset.
Good season for Parrott, top 10 in the league in tackles and solo tackles. Also a sack and now 5 tackles for loss. 3rd down and 4 from the 33. Outside of field goal range, you would think. Dynasty has a man over the middle. The pass is caught. 1st down, Nathan Barnett. Ball down from behind by Cameron Shaw, but Lincoln moves the chains. Gain of 10.
Good job by Dynasty to find Barnett on that hook.
And that's the last play before the 2-minute warning. This first half has zoomed by. Albuquerque needs a win, and they've got a 14-0 lead. This is the SFLm live on YouTube. 2-minute warning from New Mexico. Tim Hackett and Mike Proto here with you live this evening. Game 3 of 4 and week 8 of the SFLm. Happy to have you with us. 1st down and 10 for Lincoln from the 23. Albuquerque shows blitz. They've got 7 men near the line and a defensive back near it as well. Dynasty drop back. Albuquerque sends only 4. Pass over the middle is tipped away and complete. Had a man going to the end zone. Great coverage, and Lincoln will hustle back up to the line despite the incompletion.
Good job by the defense to knock that one away. Tough pass by Dynasty.
That was Moss on the target. Now they will go to Gond on the ground, and he's wrenched down for a gain of 1 by Roland Parrott.
Roland Parrott, once again, he's been everywhere in this first half.
Quickly they go back up to the line. Again, 7 men in the box for Albuquerque. 1:40 left in the first half. The Adams show blitz. Once again, they will only show 4. Dynasty under pressure, lofts it over the middle of the field. Going down to the ground to make the catch is Moss. His 4th catch, but he's 2 yards short of the line to gain.
Great effort by Jay Moss as that ball kind of popped out of there, but he'll be short 2 yards of the first down, and I'll force a field goal.
It's kind of curious that Lincoln went to the hurry up there, especially after the incomplete pass, trying to catch Albuquerque off guard, I guess. It doesn't work for him here. So Cliff Allen comes on for the field goal. Should be from about 33 yards. Up and down season for Cliff Allen, but he's been lights out over the last 4 games or so. Snap from Jesse Sanders. JQ, the other quarterback, is the holder. They'll take their time as the clock runs. They'll snap with 3, and the kick from Cliff Allen sails through. Officially good from 32 yards. The 14th made kick of the season for Allen.
Nice job by Cliff Allen with the 32-yard field goal. As you mentioned, Tim, he's now 7 for 7 over his last 4 games.
He's been lights out over the last few, and he had a shaky start to the season. In the first game of the year against the same Albuquerque team, Allen went 4 of 6. It's tough to ask any kicker to make 6 in a game, unless you're Larry Barr, the new kicker from Annapolis, who made all 6 in his debut last week, one of the wildest games of the season. So tough to blame Allen for that, but if he had made all 6 of his field goals, maybe Lincoln would have won the game. He only lost that game by 4. You never know. So now less than a minute left in the first half for Albuquerque. Here comes Bartley, and a great return for Bartley out to the 32.
Not a bad season through 7.5 games for Cliff Allen. In game 1, he went 4 for 6, and then in game 3 against Annapolis, he was 2 for 3. But as we mentioned, he's been 7 for 7. He's now 14 out of 17 on the season.
Our stat struck is telling us that before that last drive for Lincoln, they only had 1 total first down. So it's really had been a slow start for them, and they're on the board now courtesy of Cliff Allen. So 45 seconds left, and Slaughter goes down. Tackled, sacked for a loss of 6. Coming out of nowhere, is that Barbatov? No, it's not. It's the other defensive tackle, Daryl Alston. He doesn't make a lot of plays, Mike, but when he does, he's impactful.
The big man, Daryl Alston out of Baltimore, Maryland. He stands at 6'4", 318 pounds, and he nailed Slaughter in the backfield.
Get this, Alston has only 5 tackles all season. That's fewest among regulars in the league, but now he's got 3 total sacks, which is pretty amazing. Second and 16, Slaughter will loft it down the right seam looking for Punk, and it sails over his tight end's hands, incomplete with 11 seconds.
Tough pass, tough play. Slaughter threw it into traffic looking for the tight end, TJ Punk, and that one got knocked away.
Mentioned that Punk is a very busy guy, one of the most often used tight ends across the league. 4th in catches, 2nd in yards, but 12 of his 19 catches prior to today and 2/3 of his receiving yards came in the 3 games in which PJ Slaughter started rather than the 4 games in which Mike St. Green started. So definitely Slaughter favors the tight ends more than St. Green did in his half of the season. So 11 seconds left, 3rd down and 16. If Lincoln can get a stop here, they might get a chance at one more play on their own offensive end. Here's Slaughter, time running out. He's going to be hit and dropped once again. This Lincoln front has been fantastic this season, a loss of 6. That's Mike All, his first sack of the season.
Mike All, he comes up big. He's from Brewtown, Wisconsin, and he wants to win this game today.
Knew that was coming, Mike. We mentioned these 4 for Lincoln, this front 4, they've been fantastic all season in terms of accumulating pressure. And John Fowler, in his 3 games with the team, he had 5 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks. And now Mike All, who has only played in 5 games himself, counting today, has been really good as well. Give him 6 TFLs, and that's his first sack. Everybody on this defensive line is able to cause pressure.
In just a short amount of time, he's made a great impact.
It's kind of the key to the league, right? Make an impact, and Mike All has done his best to do so. Not a lot of time left, but there is time for one play. Maybe is at the end. Did Bennington get enough time off? I think he did. That's it. I wasn't sure if there was a second left. That's it for the first half. Albuquerque needs this win, Mike, and they're off on the right foot. They lead at 14-3.
This is exactly the way of the game for Jason Williams and his Albuquerque Adams team wants to grind out this game. They're on top 14-3 at the half. They've only allowed Luther Gunn and the Rattlesnakes 1 yard on the ground, and they'll take that every day.
Kidding. That's absolutely their game plan, right? We mentioned how good their rushing defense has been all season. Best in the league in terms of fewest rushing yards allowed at 71 per game, and Luther Gond has 1 total rushing yard through a half. Now, Connor Weston, not too much better. You saw a second ago at 26 total rushing yards for Albuquerque, and Iggy Swift has some of those as well. There's a look at the first touchdown for Connor Weston. He's back on the board after 3 weeks without a touchdown. The Albuquerque offense has done enough to get this lead.
Albuquerque's done enough. This game hasn't had any big plays except for that one to tight end Rand Cullen, and right now that's the difference maker at the half.
And this, as we've seen time and again in this SFL, Mike, big plays are often the difference. There's so many games have been close. There have only been a few blowouts, if you will, games decided by more than 2 scores. We almost had one in the second game. Birmingham dominated Ottawa, but that late touchdown made it a 2-score game officially, so not a blowout in my estimation. But in this game so far, we've got 2 big plays. The interception by Stack and Paper, Lincoln couldn't do anything with it, and then Albuquerque links up with the 50-plus yard touchdown strike from Slaughter to Cullen, and that's the difference in the game.
I think Albuquerque needs to stick with their game plan and do exactly what they did in the first 2 quarters and just continue playing strong. On the Lincoln Rattlesnakes side, they need to run the ball and they need to protect Bryant Dynasty. If they can't do those 2 things, the Adams keep their playoff dreams alive.
Slaughter, really good start to the game, 11 of 17 for 116 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Brian Dynasty on the other side, 9 of his first 10 for 94 yards. Lincoln will get the ball to start off here in the second half. A decent return for Tony Hall. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Alongside my partner, Mike Improda, I'm Tim Hackett. David and KT Horrell working the stats truck, as they say, and Cameron Irvine working behind the scenes like he so often does. If you want to check out the up-to-date playoff predictions, what can happen based on the results of the final 2 games, just head over to the website, simulationfl.net. You'll find it right at the top of the screen. So Bryant Dynasty with his team trailing 14-3. Final game of the season, win or lose here for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. First and 10 from the 28. Dynasty flings it over to the far sideline. The pass is hauled in. Cole Finnegan dives to try to make the play, but Moss somehow pulls it into his chest.
Good-looking pass by Dynasty to thread the needle. I thought Finnegan might have a chance to either knock that down or somehow come up with a big interception, but they pick up 5 on the pass.
His offense was remarkably balanced in that first half. As we mentioned, they are almost always very pass heavy, but now 11 pass attempts, 10 rushing attempts for Lincoln. They've not really had the ball very much at all. On second down, he'll launch it over the middle of the field, and that's tipped away incomplete. Carson Miller in on the stop.
Tough play to haul that one in. Miller was just playing right in the middle of the field. Knocked that pass down.
Just to underscore the point, I've said Lincoln throws a lot. You want to know what a lot is? They've thrown more than anybody else. As a team, they averaged nearly 42 pass attempts per game. San Jose is the next closest at just over 38. So Lincoln, when they get the ball, they hold on to it and they throw a lot, win or lose, lead or trail. They'll throw it here and they'll pick up the first down. They needed 5. Luther Gahn lowers the shoulder and gets 6 through the air.
Somehow the Adams knew that Lincoln was going to pass. They let Gahn sneak out of the backfield, and it allows Lincoln to keep the ball moving forward.
Bryant Dynasty himself in his 3 starts averages almost 39 pass attempts per game. That alone would be second in the league behind only JQ, who is Lincoln's other quarterback. Q averages 44 pass attempts per game over his 4 starts, and it really just works hand in hand. Their pass offense is good. Their rush offense hasn't been good, so why not pass it more? They'll pass here on first down and spinning out for a gain of 9. Catch out on the far sideline. Is that Hall? No, it's Barnett. We knew that would go the other way. 87, not 88. Gain of 9.
Anytime you can pick up 9 yards of pass, they'll do that every play. And to your point, once again, Tim, Dynasty, when he played against the San Jose Flight in week 6, he went 32 for 49. He put up 327 yards, but he threw 3 interceptions.
It's one of the highest passing yardage totals in the league. They'll check it down to Gahn. There was a free play, however. There was a penalty. A flag comes on prior to the snap. Let's go meet R62 once again, see what the call is. It is indeed an offside against Albuquerque and a free 5 yards here for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes.
And the Rattlesnakes, it's been unfortunate for them this season, Tim. Opposite to Albuquerque, Lincoln started the season off with 3 losses versus 1 win, but in the second half, they've gone 2-1. And the reason why they don't have a chance to make the playoffs is in week 6, they took it on the nose. It was a tough one. They lost 34-17 to San Jose. Had they won that game, this game would have meant everything for their playoff dreams.
Point, Lincoln has beaten some really good teams, and a couple of suspect losses have really snowed them under. And speaking of snowed under, there's Gond. Stopped for a loss of 1 is once again Tina Begin, and you see her 3rd TFL of the game already.
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln, they beat Madison in week 2. They beat Ottawa, so they've beaten the top teams. They just haven't been able to beat the bottom teams, and that's where they've been snake bitten.
They're the only team that can say that, Mike. They're the only team in this league that has beaten both Madison and Ottawa, and they're still not going to be in the playoffs. 2nd and 11. Pass is caught over the middle by Connor Darien, his 2nd catch. So really, they've won some of the games that they're supposed to. Again, nobody can say that they've beaten Ottawa and Madison. Few teams can say that they've beaten Madison, period. They're on a 5-game win streak after losing their first 2 games. But Lincoln has lost to the other teams that are close to Lincoln in the standing. Boise, Annapolis, and this Albuquerque team back in week 1. That just proves the point that we've been harping on all season long. Every game in this minor league is important. You can't take a week off. Here's a toss to the left for Gahn. This hasn't worked for them so far, but it does here. Luther Gahn with the cutback. Needed 4, gets 6.
Great job by Luther Gahn. He's finding his way a little bit here early in the second half. The pitch was to the left. Thought he was going to get hit at the line of scrimmage. Had a little dance move, and he picks up to the first down.
The Albuquerque defensive coordinator reminding us in the chat now 17 TFLs for Tina Begin. She couldn't make a play that time. On first down, Dynasty over the middle. The pass is hauled in. Diving catch by Jay Moss out to the 22.
Jay Moss, he's had an outstanding year receiving. Came in with 43 receptions on 71 targets. Once again, that pass that they threw in the first half, they go to it again, and it's the same result with a nice catch and a first down.
6 catches now for 46 yards unofficially for Jay Moss, and that's now 6 straight games with at least 6 catches for the top Rattlesnakes wideout. From the 22, just outside the red zone, are the Rattlesnakes trailing 14-3. Give us to Gahn, breaks through the first wave, can't break through the second wave. There's Mufasa Kamau, the Lion King. Haven't talked about him too much, but he stops Gahn for a loss of 1.
We've got two players in this game from Hawaii, Bryant Dynasty from Aiea, and Mufasa Kamau from Honolulu, and he picks up his 11th tackle for loss on the year.
Nuts. But both of these two defensive tackles are top 10 in the league in sacks and TFLs. They've just been an absolute force in their own right so far this season. Second and 11, pass over the middle, looking for Darian, I believe. Nope, it's Barnett coming out from the wide side, and Cameron Shaw helps break up the pass, Mike. He's been fantastic in coverage this season.
He's number 1 in the league. He had 16 pass deflections coming into today, make it 17.
That's nuts. And the next closest prior to today had 9 pass deflections. And again, most of those PDs for Shaw came back in week 1 when Albuquerque played the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. And JQ, he had 7 in that game, and now he's got 17 all season. Albuquerque jumps off sides again. Dynasty breaks out of the pressure. Now he's going to take off and run. Plenty of green grass for Dynasty, and he slides to a stop at the 10. That's a gain of 12. It's going to be a free play here for Lincoln. What awareness by Dynasty to somehow pick that up.
Tremendous job by Dynasty. It looked like the Adams jumped off sides, and yes, they did, but they'll decline that as Dynasty picks up a nice chunk of yards, and he's got that down. Did he get down to the 5, Tim?
I'm not sure. It's past the line to gain for sure. So move the sticks for Lincoln. And we mentioned this in passing about Albuquerque. I mean, PJ Slaughter is the best running quarterback in terms of stats, in terms of ratings. Albuquerque doesn't use him in that role at all. Lincoln runs with their 2 quarterbacks a lot. It's insane. Slaughter and Q have both been decent at running the ball. Best run of the season for Slaughter. They'll try to give it to Gahn, and Gahn has nowhere to go. Stop for a loss of 2 by Finnegan.
Yeah, check that, Tim. It looked like the 5-yard line. Dynasty got it down to the 10. And with that play, gone, unfortunately, -2. They're back to the 12.
Dynasty coming into today, 10 carries for 35 yards, third most carries and first rushing yards among quarterbacks, 3.5 yards per carry, second best among quarterbacks, and a better yards per carry average than his running back. Here goes Gahn, big hole for Gahn off the right tackle, and a nice bounce back gain for Gahn, giving 5, stopped made by Carson Miller.
Nice pickup by Luther Gahn to get that yardage back. It'll bring up 3rd and 7. But if Lincoln wants any chance to get themselves back into this game and give them a second half opportunity for the W, Tim, they got to put it in the end zone.
Kidding. It's getting close to crunch time. Almost 5 minutes left in the third. Trailing 14-3. Dynasty will drop back and pass, launching it over the middle of the field. And as you ordered, Mike Improta, a touchdown for Lincoln. It's hauled in for the score by Nathan Barnett, his 3rd touchdown of the season.
That drive was all Bryant Dynasty to his wide receivers. He hit Moss for a key first down on a couple of plays, Luther Gahn on a couple of runs, and then he caps it off with a beautiful-looking play on the slant to Nathan Barnett, putting up 6.
7 for 9 on that drive was Bryant Dynasty, and he gets him into striking distance with a 13-yard run of his own. 4th passing touchdown for Dynasty, 3rd catch of the touchdown catch, I should say, for Nathan Barnett. Cliff Allen on for the PAT, and he knocks it through. Kickers have been nearly flawless on point after so far this season in the minor league. Even though field goal kicking has come and gone for every team, Allen stays perfect on PATs, and it's a 4-point game, Mike, as you order.
Very nice. We've got a ball game. Lincoln, they're not going to go away very easily. Nathan Barnett makes a nice play. He's got 3 catches for 26 yards and put a TD on top of that.
Barnett has been scalding hot over the last couple of games. He's been really good all season, like we said. Top 5 in catches, top 10 in receiving yards, but his last 3 now make it 4 games counting today. He's been excellent. Here comes Bartley on the return. He gets out across the 30, and a really good start for Bartley. Just to spell it out, I mean, over the last 3 games, Barnett is averaging nearly 8 catches a game, exactly 99 yards per game, and now he's got 3 total touchdowns if you count today. He's been really good down the stretch for Lincoln. 3 catches for 26 yards on a score unofficially.
Not only has he been good, but thanks to our statistician, Ross Napoli, who's just given me some information, Nathan Barnett has had back-to-back 7 reception games for 100 yards. That's incredible.
His last 2 games of those 3 have been excellent. They're looking for Mondavi here on first down as Slaughter. It's knocked away. There's KT Horrell. We expect that we talk about her. One of the best outside backers in the league, helps break that up. No gain.
KT Horrell, she's been excellent this year. She leads the team with 58 tackles. She's also got 2 interceptions on the season.
Yeah, if you ask me, Mike, she has a stake to the claim to be the best outside linebacker in the league. I think there's some other folks that do some things better than she does. I mean, Gary Marks is a tremendous tackler. Devin King is a tremendous pass rusher. But Katie Horrell does everything very well. She's going to get drafted high if she wants to. On second down, here's Weston. He'll go left tackle and picks up 3. Is that Katie Horrell on the stop? You better believe it.
I'd rather have KT Horrell than David Horrell any day of the week, Tim. I love her. She's been playing outstanding. And what a great mark in the SFL minors she's made. She picks up tackle number 59.
Many thanks to the two of them for helping work on the stats for our game. They've done it a couple of times. They have to put up with us behind the scenes. Not something I would wish upon anybody. Slaughter over the middle, looking for Potter down the right seam, and it's knocked away and complete. Alexander Ramsey, lest we forget about him. He's had a great season. Knocks it away, 4th down.
Alexander Ramsey coming into this game. He's also got 2 interceptions for the Rattlesnakes. He almost made it 3.
He's been really good this year. Top 10 in the league in tackles, 2nd in assisted tackles as a safety. And 56 total tackles is 3rd among defensive backs. And as you say now, 4 pass deflections to go with his 2 picks. Really good season for the strong safety from Fort Worth. So here comes Ralph Bennington on to punt. All of a sudden, the momentum might have flipped over towards Lincoln's side. If they can get a good drive here, you never know what could happen. 4.5 to go in the 3rd. Sidestep move by Tony Hall, and he gets out to the 32.
Like I always say, Tim Hackett, Uncle Mo is a very fickle man, and it's shifted over to the away team. If the Rattlesnakes can somehow come down and score, the Adams are going to be biting their fingernails.
Score a single touchdown back in week 1. It's amazing. I love that this league was set up this way. 8-team league, 8-week season. So you're always going to have the rematch in week 1, in week 8, the rematch of the week 1 game. It's just amazing to see how much these teams have changed and morphed since week 1. On first down, Dynasty over the middle. The pass is caught for the first down. Is that Hall? It sure is. Another gain for Tony Hall, who's been really solid all season. First down and a gain of 15.
This looks like the play that Dynasty keeps calling. It's working. It's effective. He's starting to pick out all of his receivers. The first time it was Moss. The second time it was Barnett. And now he hits Hall for big yardage. They're up to the 48.
Hall actually had his best game of the season all the way back in week 1 against Albuquerque. 4 catches for 69 yards, and he's got a touchdown in back-to-back games. Just a super reliable guy. Usually averages in the 50s. For total receiving yards. On first down, they'll check it down to Gond out of the backfield, and Gond is stopped once again by Carson Miller, strafing over from the center of the field, dropping Gond for a loss of 2.
Nice job by Carson Miller. This Adams defense, they're up by 4. They want to keep it that way, and Carson Miller doesn't let Gond get anything.
Unofficially, thanks to David and KT Horrell for the stats, unofficially, 16 touches for Luther Gond, 10 total yards, rushing and passing. 2nd and 12, Dynasty, a wobbler down the left seam. 2 men dive for it, and neither could come up with it. Chris Stock on the coverage. Jay Moss was the intended target, 3rd down and long.
Chris Stock, he's out of St. John, Washington. He owns his own software development company, and right there he made a great play. Excellent coverage.
Reception, it would have been his first. It'll go down as his 4th pass deflection of the year. What's remarkable about this Albuquerque defense, Mike, we've talked all about how good their defense has been this season. No one would argue it. They don't get a lot of takeaways, only 4 takeaways, and when you chalk that up against the 11 giveaways, they have the worst turnover differential in the league, and they could still make the playoffs. 3rd down and long, and Dynasty goes down again. There's Wolf Justice. The man's howling. Another sack. 4th down and long.
Yeah, once again, Bryant Dynasty gets sacked. He couldn't quite find his way out of the pocket. It collapsed quickly, and sack number 4 for Albuquerque.
4th sack of the season as well for Wolf Justice. This defensive front for Albuquerque has come to play. They nearly blocked that punt as well from Pete Edwards. That could have been crazy. You haven't seen that so far this season. And Bartley shimmies out across the 25 and gets out to the 26. So Albuquerque, and the same can be said for Lincoln, Mike. I mean, some teams in this league, they've gone through so many changes on their roster. I mean, I'm thinking about Annapolis. I mean, they've had a half dozen arrivals and departures. They look like LAX over the last couple of weeks. But, I mean, Albuquerque has been pretty much consistent roster-wise this whole season. Really only in the last couple of weeks that they had any changes at all. That's part of the reason why they've been a consistent team.
Yeah, it certainly helps the coaching staff when they know their players, they know their personnel, they know their strengths and their weaknesses. And right there, Eagle Mondavi makes a strong catch, and he's going to go all the way.
Oh, not quite all the way. He almost had it. That's his strength. The link up to Eagle Mondavi, the biggest pass play, save for that touchdown to Rand Cullen. Look how wide open he is. In front of the safety, Eric Guger stays in bounds, stays on his feet. Guger can't make the tackle. Here comes Tommy Zanardi and Alex Ramsey, the other safety, and Ramsey's going to stop Mondavi inside the 15.
How did Alexander Ramsey come all the way from the opposite side of the field and make that touchdown-saving tackle? I thought Mondavi was gone. What an unbelievable catch. He went up, spun around, and he takes it down to the Lincoln 11.
Suddenly, Albuquerque could snatch this momentum right back. They'll give it to Weston, and Weston is stopped for a loss of 2 once again. Lincoln has been ready for Connor Weston, and that's Zanardi again. He had a slow start to the season, Mike, but he's been lethal today.
Zanardi makes a nice play on Connor Weston. Lincoln knows how hot Weston's been over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but right now they got to focus on stopping this passing attack.
Officially a 54-yard catch from Mondavi, the longest play of the game and the longest catch of the season for the Albuquerque top wideout. On 2nd and 13, again, they'll give to Weston running right tackle, and again he's stopped. He picks up 1. Is that Zanardi again? You better believe it. Tommy Zanardi's been on fire today.
Tommy the Tasman Zanardi. If Lincoln has any chance to keep Albuquerque off the board, they're going to credit him.
They need a stop here to try to stay in the game. Plenty of time left, 90 seconds left in the third quarter. A touchdown here would be massive for the Adams. There's no question about it. 3rd down and 12 from the 12. First down is the goal line. Slaughter has time. He'll throw it over the middle, checking it down to Iggy Swift, and the fullback with a straight-up drop. That's rare. He's pretty sure-handed for a fullback. That brings up 4th and 12.
Excellent coverage by the Lincoln Rattlesnakes secondary. Slaughter, he obviously was looking into the end zone, didn't have anything, tried to drop it off to his fullback, and I didn't think he was going to get much either way. It'll bring out Sicario for the field goal attempt.
You think right call here, 4th down and 12, got to kick it, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Here comes Taco Sicario. He's 12 of 13 from field goals. This is a chip shot, should be from about 29 for the kicker from Fort Worth. They'll take their time. They'll snap it with 120. Slaughter is the holder, and the kick from Sicario sails through. Officially from 29, 13th kick for Sicario, and Albuquerque leads by 7.
Not exactly the way Jason Williams wanted that drive to end, but it allows the Adams to extend their lead. Now they're up by a touchdown.
Mentioned the big play is making the difference in the game, Mike. Albuquerque scores one of their touchdowns on the big touchdown strike from Slaughter to Cullen. They get that other 50-plus yard pass from Slaughter to Mondavi, and they tack on 3. Those are the 2 biggest plays of the game, and Albuquerque has the lead.
When you can end your drive and put up additional points, that's a success.
Albuquerque has struggled to do that over the course of the season, like we said. They're taking care of the ball mostly today. Slaughter has 1 turnover. That's a good sign. We mentioned that turnover differential for Albuquerque. It's abysmal. Their point differential is really bad as well. It's just striking to me, Mike, is a decent return for Hall. Gets him out to the 29. Albuquerque, some of their auxiliary stats are just not good, and it's just a surprise that they could make it into the playoffs and have a negative turnover differential, a negative point differential, all the basic cliches, the adages say you got to control those 2 things, right? And they haven't done that this season. They still might be 4-4 and make it into the playoffs. And first down, gone, gets nothing, maybe 1. Nice tackle by Parrott.
I think the key difference for the Albuquerque Adams this season, Tim, is when you look at the numbers and you dig a little deeper, it's all about their defense. They're number 1 overall in the league. They only give up about 259, 260 yards a game. The ironic thing is they struggle to score points. They rank last in the league. They only average about 12 per game, and right now they have 17. So head coach Williams has to be very pleased.
All season, but it lets him down here. What a strike from Dynasty to Jay Moss. He dives out and lands right on the midfield line. What a pickup.
Great job by Brian Dynasty. Fantastic job by Moss to catch that one in traffic. How did he hang on to that? Right in between 2 defenders. And right now, Brian Dynasty, he's feeling it.
Pickup of 20 through the air from Dynasty to Moss. Right from midfield, just a 7-point game. 15 seconds left in the third quarter. Albuquerque needs this win to have any shot at making the playoffs on Monday. He gave us to Gahn, and he is taken down from behind by a pair of defenders, Parrott and Justice, and a gain of 1. Gahn's slow day continues.
The Rattlesnakes are going to keep the Adams defense honest. They're going to give it to Gahn from time to time. But if they want to keep moving the ball, let Dynasty sling it.
We're done with 3 from Albuquerque and the regular season finale. Guess what, Mike? 4's up in the chat. I remembered. On to the fourth quarter we go. This is the SFL Minor League on YouTube. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Game 3 of 4 of the weekly Wednesday quadruple header, week 8 of 8, in what's been a tremendous inaugural SFL minor league season. Tim Hackett, Mike Improda, KT and David Horrell doing the stats. Cameron Irvine working behind the scenes. 7-point game as we start the fourth. Albuquerque must win. Lincoln hoping to play spoiler and get some revenge on first down. Dynasty looking for Moss, and it's swatted away by Carson Miller.
Nice job by Carson Miller. He's played very well today. He deflects that pass. It's going to force a 3rd and 9 situation for Lincoln. Expect Dynasty to throw it again.
Mistake. I said that was first down. That was second down, but the first play of the fourth quarter. And Carson Miller with unofficially his 2nd pass deflection of the game, and he's got 6 tackles to boot. So 3rd down and 9 from just across midfield. 4 wides and a tailback, which is gone. The Dynasty has time. Looking for Gond out of the backfield. The pass is tipped and hauled in by Luther Gond. What a play. Stopped up by Miller, but a huge gain of 17 moved the chains.
What a catch by Luther Gond. Reached out with one hand, was somehow able to bring that into his body and hang on. Lincoln keeps this drive alive, and now they're deep into the Adams territory.
Luther Gond, we've talked about him having a tough season so far, but he's actually off of his best game of the season. 76 rushing yards to help Lincoln win last week, but he only had 1 catch. That was a season low. He's had 4 or more catches 5 times. Now he's got 5 catches for 24 unofficially, so the 6th time that he's had 4 or more catches. They'll toss it again to Gond. That play has worked only once. Albuquerque has read it every other time. Chris Stock, the defensive back, is there to lead the way, lost 2.
Crazy thing about Gond last week was at halftime, I think he had about -4 yards rushing, and then in the second half exploded for 78. He ended up with 76 yards and a touchdown, all coming in the second half for that victory.
Toss it again to the left side, power toss, and man, Albuquerque has fought the power all day. Wolf Justice and Dayton Rhodes, the free safety in there on the stop, a loss of 5.
Jose Bruce Banner Fuentes, he's got to throw that play out the window. They've run it 2 consecutive times, and they've ended up with a loss of 7.
I think their success rate on it is 1 of 8 so far, Mike, and I think this is the first time I've really seen Lincoln run it all season, and it just hasn't worked for it. Plain and simple. 3rd and 17. Deep drop back for Dynasty against a 4-man rush. He'll have to move out to his left. Chased from behind by Kamau, and Dynasty will just fling it over into his own bench and out of play. I mean, Moss technically the target there, but Dynasty was under intense pressure from the Lion King. 4th down and long.
Outstanding job by the Albuquerque Adams defense to hold Lincoln from moving the ball forward. They got ripped up a couple of times for some first downs, and then they forced Lincoln into a 3rd and very long situation. 3rd and 17. The only thing that Dynasty could do was throw that away and avoid a possible interception. Good job by the Adams D.
They hold firm once again. That's been the story all season for Albuquerque, and so Lincoln will have to punt from the enemy 40 and the 39 officially, and great work by the special teams this time. Pete Edwards has been lethal. It's a net of 32, but Albuquerque will start at their own 7.
There's Sneaky Pete. He's done an excellent job for Lincoln. He gets on the field probably a lot more than he'd like to, but when he does, he's very effective. He's always putting the ball inside the 10.
PJ Slaughter back out to work with a 7-point lead. It's been another really solid game for him, bouncing back from a strange game last time out against Ottawa that we know how good their defense has been over the balance of the season. On first down, they'll give to West, and he's been bottled up today, and he picks up 3. Nice gain on first down. KT Horrell is in the area for Lincoln, as well as Brett Wade. He's been super busy today out of nowhere.
That's what the Adams are going to do as it starts to get a little bit deeper here into the game. Under 9 minutes left. They're up by 7. They want to give Connor Weston the ball to seal the deal.
And this is exactly where Albuquerque wants to be. They're a run-first team. Only Boise has more running attempts over the balance of the season. On 2nd and 7, they'll fling it out to Weston. Right as I say that, and Weston gets stopped, dropped in the backfield for a loss of 1. There's Ben Stackenpaper, their top corner with his 5th TFL.
Ben Stackenpaper started off the game with an interception, and then he gets involved with a big hit on Weston in the backfield.
It's really no surprise just to put a bow on that last point. These are the two most run-first teams in the league. They've got the two biggest star running backs, Fox Highwind for Boise and Connor Weston, the tailback for Albuquerque. On 3rd and 8, they'll have to pass, and the pass is hauled in on the right side. That looks like Bartley, and it is his second catch of the season for the new man, but he needed 8. He only got 6, 4th down.
Jason Bartley, he's out of Meritus, Texas, trying to find the first down marker, and he comes up just a little short. The Adams will have to punt.
Bartley had 1 catch for 7 yards in his debut last week. Now 1 catch for 6 yards here today. Connor Weston was actually Albuquerque's top receiver last week with 7 catches. Lincoln will get the ball in plus territory. Tony Hall gets out to the Albuquerque 47. Stopped there by number 35, John Perry, the backup running back. And so Lincoln now, Mike, ball across midfield. There's a look at JQ, the other quarterback. Ball across midfield, 7-point deficit. This is prime striking distance for the Snakes.
Unfortunately for Albuquerque, their defense is put under pressure again. Lincoln gets the ball on the 47. The Adams D is going to have to come up big again.
Adams' offense has not done very much, save for that one big link up from Slaughter to Mondavi here in the second half, and it's going to be on their defense as it usually has been. On 1st down, the pass to the right side is hauled in. What a catch. Is that Barnett? It is. Gain of 9. Stopped there by Carson Miller, but Nathan Barnett has been great again.
Nathan Barnett, he's up to 4 catches. That ball was a little bit behind him. Good athleticism to bring that catch in.
Once again, Lincoln spreading the wealth. That's now 27 pass attempts for Dynasty. He's over 200 yards. Moss has 7 catches. Barnett has 4. Hall has 3. They'll give it to Gahn, trying to change the pace, and Gahn has nowhere to go. Stopped again by Carson Miller.
Luther Gahn, he's just had a tough time when he receives the ball on the run. His offensive line hasn't done a whole lot to provide any holes for him to run through. And once again, he gets stopped for a 1-yard loss.
It's just strength against weakness. Albuquerque's best in the league in rush defense. Lincoln is last in the league in rush offense. That's just not the path for success, but they'll run it here, and that works. They needed 2, and Luther Gahn gets just enough. Critical pickup. 1st down, Lincoln stopped by Miller.
And that's exactly what they were looking for out of the offensive line. Gahn finally gets a block from his tackle, Hawk Huntington, out of Huntington Beach. He's the Huntington Beach bad boy, and he picks up a 1st down.
Mentioned Fred Dukes is new to this Lincoln offensive line. Just his 2nd game with the team. See if he can provide some protection that John Marshall couldn't. Dynasty was under pressure there, and he will have to check it down to Luther Gahn. We mentioned he catches a lot of passes, and he picks up 2. Miller was once again in the area.
Good job by you, Tim. Check that. Fred Dukes, he was the man that created the hole for Luther Gahn.
He's got an amazing story, though, that he told you, Mike. I love this about Fred Dukes.
Fred Dukes, he's out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. He likes to be known as the human blob because he absorbs all of the defenders.
That's just fantastic. I love that out of an offensive lineman. The fullback dive here to R.E. Mills, and he picks up 3. So decent day for Mills. That's now 3 carries for 7 yards for him. And we mentioned he is a very busy man. 2nd most total touches behind only Iggy Swift, who wears the neon on the other side. 1st in carries, 1st in yards, 3rd in yards per carry for a fullback. And Mills picks up 3 to help keep Lincoln ahead of the sticks. From the 30-yard line, in field goal range here for Allen. Dynasty has a man wide open. It's Barnett once again. 1st down and more out across the 20 to the 18. Stopped by Shaw.
Excellent job by Dynasty to go through his progressions. He looked to the left. Moss wasn't open. Looked to the right. Barnett sat right into the pocket, and he hit him. Great looking pass.
Yeah, great pass, and Barnett was wide open in that zone. Just ran a 8-yard curl. It picks up about 10 or so to help move the sticks. Barnett now 5 catches for 47, excuse me. Moss 7 for 67. Hall with 3 catches. Darian with 2. Dynasty is always spreading the wealth. He's up to 29 pass attempts, 10 away from his average. Less than 5 minutes to go in the 4th. Another offside penalty perhaps here against Albuquerque. Dynasty's under pressure. He goes down again. Mufasa Kamau drops Dynasty for a big loss, but we'll have to check the flag.
Neutral zone infraction, number 53. Defense.
Surprise. I think this is the 3rd neutral zone infraction against Albuquerque. And they're going to get Roland Parrott, who checked in from the linebacker spot, try to go in on the side of the defensive end, and he just jumps the gun.
And that's the only reason why the offensive line was bowled right over by Parrott. Jumped the gun just a little too early.
Again, 3rd or 4th offside penalty for this Adams defense today. So a free 5 yards. Lincoln now 1st and 5 from the 13. 7-point deficit. The Rattlesnakes looking for some revenge and looking to finish this season red hot. on 1st and 5. They'll give it to Gahn. Hole for Luther Gahn off left tackle, and he stopped inches short of the line to gain. Solid pickup for Gahn. Miller is once again in the area for Albuquerque. He's got 11 tackles.
Luther Gahn, he's trying to get himself on the positive side of the stat sheet. That was his 19th carry. He's got 3 yards positive, and he's just inches from picking up the first down. Give it to him again, Lincoln.
It's been a tough day for Luther Gahn, but he could salvage it with a touchdown here, wouldn't you say? 2nd and inches from the 8. Albuquerque leads by 7. They'll pull out to the right, trying to give Gahn some extra space, and Albuquerque was ready for it. This Adams front has been stellar. That's Mike Baker and Carson Miller, big surprise, but Baker, the other defensive end, leads the charge. Loss of 2.
I'm trying, Luther. I'm trying for you, brother. But right there, Baker just flattens him in the backfield.
Baker now with 6 total TFLs all season. He's played the whole time. Mike All on the other side for Lincoln has 6 TFLs. He's only played half the season just for comparison purposes. 3rd down and 3. Dynasty has time, has a man, and the pass is tipped away. Cole Finnegan's big day continues. Darian, the tight end, was wide open, but Dynasty's pass was too far behind, and Finnegan is up to the task.
Really good job by the Lincoln offensive line to protect Dynasty, but an even better job. Fantastic play to reach out, and Finnegan knocked it away. If that had gotten through, you could have put up 6 for the Rattlesnakes.
But if Dynasty lofted it towards the sideline, I don't think anybody would have had a chance at it. Finnegan, honestly, with a little bit of a hold on Nathan Barnett. You don't see that called very often in this league. He gets away with it and then knocks it away with the back of his right arm. Right place, right time for Finnegan, and here comes Cliff Allen on for another short field goal. Pulled down from JQ, and Cliff Allen's kick sails through. He's now made 9 straight kicks, and it's a 4-point game again.
Mark that play down, Tim. At 3:40 in the 4th quarter, Cole Finnegan forces Lincoln to kick a field goal, and that might have preserved this game for the Adams. There's still a lot of time left, but that was a huge play.
It very well, seal it for Albuquerque, especially if they're able to take some time off the clock. Allen will send in the onside kick, and it bounces right into the hands of an Adams player. That's number 87, their 3rd-string tight end, Kyle Ferdinand, who might have like 1 or 2 catches all season, but a big time for him to use his hands. He beats out Kari Redmond, who's caught 2 touchdowns for Lincoln, and Albuquerque gets the ball on the onside kick.
Quite sure I agree with that call by Jose Fuentes to go with the onside kick. There's 3.5 minutes left to go. They have 3 timeouts. Their defense has been playing fantastic, and now they give up unbelievable field position to the Adams.
That'll help as well. On 1st down, Iggy Swift, the fullback, picks up 8, stopped by KT Horrell. And I was going to ask you, Mike, I mean, there's 3.5 minutes to go. It's still a 1-score game, 4 points. This seems like it's a little bit too early to try the onside kick for me.
I could not agree with you more, Tim. That's why I'm shaking my head. You can't see me, but I don't agree with that onside kick. I would have liked to have seen them kick it deep and let this Rattlesnake defense hold them back. They've been playing excellent in the second half.
Now Albuquerque's on the fringes of field goal range already. Slaughter's going to take his time. 5 seconds on the play clock. Here's Connor Weston. A hole for Weston. Needed 2, gets 4. First down.
Big first down by Weston. That's why he's the number 2 rated running back right now in the SFL minors. He's got a nose for the yardage to gain, and he picks up a first down.
This is exactly the territory that Albuquerque wants to be in. It's a slim lead. It's not a safe lead by any stretch, but we know how much they run the ball. We know that they're generally effective at running the ball, and Lincoln has not been good at stopping the run. The game script is in Albuquerque's favor right now. They'll give it again to Weston, and he picks up 2. More time ticking away. The Adams don't have to run another play before the 2-minute warning. Chris Porter made that stop. He's been quiet today.
I'd be shocked if Jason Williams has his offense run another play before the 2-minute warning. They've got control of the ball, they've got control of the clock, and they've got control of the lead.
Albuquerque will hustle back up to the line. 2 seconds to snap it, and Slaughter will not. 2-minute warning here in Albuquerque in the final game of the regular season. The Adams must win to have a chance to make the playoffs, and they've got a 4-point lead. This is the Simulation Football Minor League live on YouTube. All right. Thanks for joining us live from Albuquerque here this evening. Tim Hackett, Mike Caprota, David and KT Horrell doing the stats. Cameron Irvine working behind the scenes. A killer game coming your way at 8-7 Central. Annapolis versus Madison, round 2. Annapolis won that game back in week 1, but Madison has won 5 straight games. You don't want to miss that one. PJ Slaughter calling an audible. They'll swing it out to the right side on a stretch run for Weston. He picks up another 2, and Lincoln will use its first timeout. They've run to Brett Wade's side all game, Mike, and Brett Wade has been up to the task.
Brett Wade's done a fantastic job, and he's coming up big. It's 3rd and 6. This is going to be huge for the Rattlesnakes to stop him here and force the field goal.
Smart first timeout for Jose Fuentes, trying to preserve as much clock as possible. How aggressive does Albuquerque get here? 3rd and 6 from the 23. They're within range for Sicario for sure. They will keep it on the ground to Weston, trying to feed their workhorse, and Weston gets close, but not close enough. Needed 6, only got 5. 3 Rattlesnakes are there for the stop, 4th down.
Magnificent job by this Lincoln defense. How did they do it? They stopped Connor Weston 1 yard short. This will force a Sicario field goal to possibly put them up by 3. This game isn't over.
And we've mentioned that Lincoln has struggled against the run all season. Albuquerque is going to bring the offense back out there. They have done this a lot this season. 4th down and 1. The clock has stopped, though. Do they just try to bait Lincoln into going offside? Albuquerque is just 1 of 8 on 4th downs all season. 3 seconds on the play clock, and Slaughter never really intended to run a play. We've seen this pretty much all season from every team, Mike. That's just a bait and switch.
Exceptional discipline by the front 4 of Lincoln. They knew what the Adams were trying to do.
And Albuquerque has jumped off sides a couple of times. Lincoln does not jump off sides. Albuquerque leads this one 17-13. The Adams won in week 1 16-12. Remarkably similar score lines despite 6 games, I guess, separating those 2 scores. And so now Taco Sicario comes on for a field goal that may ice this win for Albuquerque. 4-point lead, less than 2 minutes to go. The right-footed kicker from Fort Worth on for his 2nd field goal of the afternoon. Snap is down, hold is down from Slaughter, and the kick from Sicario is through from 35. It's Taco Wednesday, folks, and it's a 7-point game again.
You're making me hungry, Tim, and I'm starving for some more excitement. Does Bryant Dynasty have it to go down the field and tie up this game?
Mike, Bryant Dynasty has been mocked. There's loads of guys that do mock drafts for the SFL. I love mock drafts. The draft starts June 21st, not too long from now. And Bryant Dynasty has been a consistent first-round mocked pick. A lot of things have happened that might change where his position goes, but this is his last opportunity to try to show what he can do on the field. As Tony Hall, great return out to the 33, one of the best we've seen today. And so Dynasty, 67 yards away, 1:43 left on the clock, 7-point deficit, 1 timeout. It's his time to shine.
Absolutely. Bryant Dynasty, he's done it on the field, he's done it off the field, and that's the great thing about the SFL, Tim. You don't have to have a great player to be a great draft pick. Bryant Dynasty has all the intangibles. Any team that gets him is going to be very, very pleased.
1st down and 10 from the 33. Dynasty has a man. It's tipped once or twice, and it falls incomplete. That's Owen Grant, the backup, got his hand on it. Moss was the intended target. Albuquerque runs 5 or 6 defensive backs, more than just about anybody. All 4 of their backup defensive backs have made plays this season. It's Grant getting that one done.
Excellent job by Grant to knock that one away. It brings up 2nd and 10. Dynasty's going to have to open it up if he wants to give his team any chance to tie the score.
We know Lincoln passes a lot. It's time to see what Albuquerque has prepared for against the Lincoln pass. They're going to pass pretty much this whole way, you would imagine. 2nd down at 10. Dynasty fires it into a tight window. What a catch by Barnett, but they only pick up 4, and they have to use their last timeout.
Not quite sure about the decision from Dynasty. He forced his team to use a timeout. He only picked up 4 yards. It brings up a very difficult 3rd down. The Adams know they have to throw. If I were Dynasty, you got to throw it a little bit deeper than that.
Trips out to the right, and gone is the lone setback. 3rd down and 6 from the 37. 95 seconds left in regulation. Lincoln trying to play spoiler. Dynasty to the near side. The pass is picked off. There's Owen Grant again, and he will coast into the end zone. Albuquerque's going to stay alive in the playoff push. A pick 6 from the backup Owen Grant.
That's the nail in the coffin for the Lincoln Rattlesnakes. Congratulations to the Adams. They keep their playoff hopes alive. And right there, Mr. Grant puts the Rattlesnakes in the tomb.
5th takeaway for Albuquerque, Mike. It has not been their strength this season. Their backups now have 3 takeaways. All interceptions. It's been crazy. And that is going to seal this game for the Adams. They get a takeaway from a backup. What do you know? And Owen Grant takes it about 30 yards to the house. It's a 2-score game now and not a lot of time left for Lincoln.
That'll certainly seal the deal. These fans here in Albuquerque are going crazy. They know their team still has a chance. But the 8 p.m. game, everything's on the line. The Annapolis Navigators, they need to win to get in. A loss allows Albuquerque to sneak through. Man, oh man, the final game is going to be fantastic.
Sicario nails the PAT, and you're right, Mike. I mean, frankly, for Annapolis, they didn't care what happened in the other 3 games. If they win, they're in. Doesn't matter what happened in the other 3 games today. If they win, they're in. Now, what's crazy for Annapolis is the other 3 games do matter because they could finish anywhere from 1st to 5th in the playoff standings. Now, some of that has changed after the earlier results today. Another good return for Hall out to the 30. But it's crazy how much fluctuation there could be, all the different permutations, and Cam Irvine, the commissioner, did a lot of great work to try to figure out all those different scenarios. There are only 4 scenarios left, and Annapolis could still be 1st, 4th, 3rd, or 5th, depending on how everything goes. But once again, if they win, they're in, and they'll worry about who they play some other day. It doesn't really matter.
The one thing for certain, Tim, is the Navigators control their destiny.
If they win, they're in. Doesn't matter. Albuquerque has done its job. Last chance corral here for our last chance saloon, I guess, messing up my Western metaphors here. And a nice pickup of 14 out on the first on first down. I think that was gone out of the backfield. That's his longest play of the game. Dynasty with 60 seconds left. He'll fling it over to the right seam. It's tipped up and incomplete. That looked like Tabucky Bear, who had a sack earlier today, breaks up that pass. 2nd down.
Tabucky, the Grizzly Bear, knocks that one away, and right now it's only a matter of time. The Adams are 1:03 left to go to head to the playoffs.
They needed to do this. We mentioned they have to win to stay alive. They can only be the 4th seed next week. The 1st seed is likely to be Madison, not guaranteed. And Albuquerque, I mean, it was crazy that they might miss the playoffs, and they still might, but they've done their job. 2nd down, short pass looking for Gond, and he tips it back up like a setter, back to his quarterback. It falls incomplete. That was a weird play.
The Adams are feeling it. They know they're on their way to the postseason. They'll just tighten up here. They know Lincoln's going to throw the ball. This one is over.
9 rushing yards unofficially for Lincoln. 1 from Luther Gond, and the Albuquerque game plan has worked perfectly. They've gotten a couple of big plays on offense. They've converted those into touchdowns. They have a defensive score. Their defense has paved the way like they have all season. 3rd and 10. Dynasty launching it down the right seam, tipped away by Cameron Shaw. Another PD for the league leader. 4th down and 10. Shaw now has 18 this season.
He's been fantastic. He's an excellent player. Expect to see him go early in the 1st round on the 21st.
It's just an absolutely nuts figure. And again, the 2nd place player before today had 9, and one of those was Dakota Johansson for Ottawa, and I think he might have had 1 in his game. But regardless, Cameron Shaw just heads and shoulders above everybody. 4th and 10. Here comes the game for Lincoln. Dynasty has all day against the 3-man rush. Short pass is caught, and a 1st down for Lincoln. They just barely get him. Not sure who made that catch. Might have been the backup, Robert Woodard. I think it is. He's not used very much, number 84 in the Lincoln green. And so now it's a 1st down and 10 from across midfield. 35 seconds left, 5 wides. Dynasty hustles everybody back to the line, and he spikes it.
It's all academic from here. Brian Dynasty doing the best he can. This team's not going to give up until the final second ticks off the clock.
Once again, we see Dynasty with a chance to prove something for himself, and of course the same can be said for all the playmakers and all the defensive players here for Albuquerque. There's a chance that for both of these teams, they don't have any other games to try to show some front offices what they can do on the field. Plenty of things they can do off the field to try to improve their draft stock, though, as you hinted at, Mike. 2nd and 10. Dynasty has a man wide open over the middle of the field. Another gain of about 13. I think that was Moss, stopped by Stock, and Lincoln once again hustles back to the line. Dynasty rallies the troops, and he spikes it with 19.
Good job by Moss. He's been the best player on the field for Lincoln. He's hauled in 8 out of 11 targets for 80 yards.
He's been quiet. He was quiet at the start of the season. Just 8 catches for 55 total yards over his first 2, including that first meeting against Lincoln. And now he's got 8 catches for 80 in this game alone. 2nd and 10 from the 32. Lincoln needs 2 strikes almost immediately. Rattlesnakes on their last legs. Down the left seam, the pass is hauled in by Tony Hall. Breaks the tackle, but he can't get out of bounds. 10 seconds left. Lincoln's going to have to hustle up to the line. One guy's already there like a track star ready to go. The rest of the cavalry has arrived. Only 3 seconds left. Will Dynasty get the snap off? He will. They'll snap it with 1 second left, and Lincoln's going to have one more play just to do something crazy.
Unbelievable. Can Lincoln get off the field and celebrate a last-second touchdown to end the game?
Hey, and one more chance for Luther Gahn, maybe, Mike? You were calling for it earlier. Maybe one more chance for him to right the ship?
2nd and goal from the Albuquerque 4. I'd love to see Gahn cap off his season with a touchdown. But let's see Dynasty throw the ball.
One more chance here for Lincoln. Last play of their season. Dynasty to throw. To the right side. The pass is caught as a man wide open. Touchdown, Connor Darien. And that's how the season will end. Albuquerque's defense stands strong, and the Adams stay alive in the playoff push. They're going to win this game.
Lincoln knew that they didn't have a chance to get into the playoffs, but they put the exclamation point on the season from Dynasty to Darien. Good-looking play.
Wasn't sure if they were going to be allowed to do the PAT. It doesn't always happen, and they are going to. So Cliff Allen is going to get the last hurrah here. He's going to make it a 7-point game if he can knock it through. Second touchdown catch of the season for Connor Darien, and now 5 touchdown passes from Bryant Dynasty. Cliff Allen on for the PAT. And he knocks it through. That's the ball game. The Albuquerque defense does its job. They needed to win to stay alive, and they have done so. Albuquerque wins it 27-10, and now they wait and watch the Navigators. If they lose, Albuquerque's going to the playoffs.
What an exciting finish to this SFL minor season. Albuquerque, they've done what they needed to do, and now the 8 p.m. game, the Navigators need to win to get in. What a game today, Tim. It's been a pleasure working with you, as always.
Likewise, man. Thank you so much for bringing me into the league. I appreciate all that you have done for me. It has been an absolute pleasure. I've loved being with you this season. Hopefully, the fans they've liked us enough to get us to stick around, because I've had a lot of fun. Really good game as always, Mike. As you've said before, we've gotten some really good games over the course of the season. We're now 6 of 7, I think, in terms of close games coming down to the wire, 1-score games, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's just about us. That doesn't matter. Albuquerque gets the job done. Lincoln shows some flashes, but the Adam defense is more than good enough.
Absolutely. They stopped the run. They scored the points that they needed to when they had to. They came up with big plays. You can see Eagle Mundavi. He had a hand in the pot, and he certainly mixed it up. And Tim, I'm going to go out on the limb. I think it's probably going to be, if you were leading into this, the player of the game, it'll probably be the tight end who made that excellent 52-yard grab, Rand Cullen. But if we go with a user, give it to the defender, Carson Miller. He had 11 big tackles, a tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. I'd love to see him get the honor.
I have 2 guesses for this one because it's so wacky and there are so many different players that it could be. Those would probably be my 2 guesses as well. And if this is your first game with us, Mike Improta is 6 of 6 on his predictions. He's a perfect kicker, if you will, in terms of his predictions for player of the game. And we're going to see that before too long. Carson Miller was great. Tina Begin was great. Here's the big play to seal it for Owen Grant. This was the difference in the game, Mike. We mentioned 2 big plays on offense and this big play on defense. That's the difference for Albuquerque.
Turnovers are usually the deciding factor, and unfortunately for Lincoln, that's what did them in.
So Madison against Annapolis coming up next at 8/7 Central with Jeff Melanishin and Dan Mitchell. Don't go anywhere. That game will decide who has the 4th and final playoff spot. Here we go. Player of the game in the final regular season game. Oh no, it's PJ Slaughter, who was very good. 12 of 21 for 194, and that one big rushing gain. I thought it was more than 6 yards, but I'm sorry, Mike, your perfect season comes to an end.
I'm actually on a losing streak. Ever since I did the All-Star game with Mr. Irvine, Harish Prasad has put the curse on me.
I was only counting the games that you did with me because, of course, that's all that matters. PJ Slaughter is the player of the game, the MVP, to help steer Albuquerque to a win in their regular season finale. Mike and Proto, your final thoughts.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing the SFL into your living rooms. Don't miss that 8 p.m. game. Now allow the SFL into your dreams.
One more critical game here to close out the regular season. Madison against Annapolis. If Annapolis wins, they're in. If they lose, Albuquerque's in. Thanks for joining us all season. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long.